Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing kind of Legacy from the past. This is episode 2 of the Epic Storm Eras Tour. I don't know if Bryant has branded it that way, but it sounded pretty good. Taylor Swift, please don't sue me. What's going on here is that a patron of the Epic Storm YouTube channel and website has asked Bryant Cook to play the Epic Storm through various eras of its existence in Legacy. And in order for Bryant to do that, he needs opponents. And I'm the opponent. So we are the other side. This time around, it's 2013. This is Bryant's list for the day. Burning Wish, Cabal Therapy, Empty the Warrens, all looks familiar. 4 copies of Gitaxian Probe. Look out, everybody. Ponder, Rite of Flame. Epic Storm is still an ad nauseum deck at this time. Silence in here. And kind of hybridizing the Rainbow and Fetchland mana base. If you want to hear the full history, go talk to Bryant. He can be more informed about this. Go watch his side of these matches. But the Epic Storm had eras where it was a City of Brass, Gemstone Mine kind of mana base. And now it's a fully Fetchland dual land mana base. And here in 2013, they were doing a little bit of both. That's pretty cool. The win cons in this deck, there's a main deck empty, a sideboard empty, a sideboard Grapeshot, a sideboard Tendrils. There is not a main deck Tendrils. So you can't actually die against this deck if you stop Burning Wish from happening. They can make a lot of goblins and pass the turn while ripping your hand apart with Duress and silence you on your turn so you can't answer the goblins. I mean, they have other lines, but you can't just die with a Spell Snare available. I'm just kind of getting stock of the situation here. 2013 is well after the Innistrad block gave us Delver of Secrets, Snapcaster Mage, and then the third set in that block gave us Grizzlebrand, Craterhoof Behemoth, and most importantly, the Miracle Mechanic. We are 6 months to a year after that. We're in the middle of the Return to Ravnica block, which gave us Deathrite Shaman, Abrupt Decay seen in this list. Supreme Verdict will appear in some of these lists. Cards like that are new at this point. Also relatively new, in the middle of 2012, Plane Chase came out, which gave us Shardless Agent and Baleful Strix, 2 cards that seem ubiquitous at this point in time, but these were big shakeups to how Legacy was played and built. And that brings me to my first deck I'm going to play against Bryant. We're going to play one match with each of these 5 decks. There was some feedback after the last one that it would be cool to see a playoff like this against different decks, though I don't just play the Epic Storm every round. But the answer to that is that a fan of the Epic Storm paid to see this content, and nobody paid to see the other thing. So if you want to see that, I'm happy to do it. Someone's just got to pony up for it. But queuing into the Epic Storm, I have Shardless BUG. This is not a deck known very well for its combo matchup, because outside of Force of Will, which you'll also notice is only main decking 3 copies, you can't really play counterspells, because Shardless Agent cascading into them is bad. That's why there is a focus on discard, Hymn to Turok, and Thoughtseize. There's 2 more Thoughtseizes and another Hymn in the sideboard. And then a couple Flusterstorms, because you got to do something. And I can either board out your Shardless Agents or just board these in and hope they don't line up that way. This is one of the grindiest control decks that Legacy has ever really had. And of course, at the center of it is the new, at the time, Deathrite Shaman. My second deck from the era is the deck that I actively played throughout this entire range, from basically the printing of Craterhoof Behemoth in 2012 until probably 2016. Like, I had a solid 3.5, 4 years of maining Elves. I still own this deck in foil in real life, just in case it's ever viable again. The $60 I spent on my foil Gaia's Cradles in 2012, well spent, let me tell you. But about the deck itself, this is proper combo Elves. Glimpse of Nature, Heritage Druid, Nettle Sentinel. The combo here is Heritage Druid taps 3 Elves for 3 green. Nettle Sentinel says whenever you cast a green spell, you can untap this creature. Glimpse of Nature says whenever you cast a creature, draw a card. And the deck is just full of 1-drops. You tap a Heritage Druid and 2 Nettle Sentinels for green. You cast a Llanowar Elf. You untap the 2 Nettle Sentinels. You have 2 green floating. You've drawn a card. And now Llanowar Elves is untapped with these 2 Sentinels. You tap those 3. Now you have 5 green floating. You cast another 1-drop. Off you go. This was a deck even before the printing of Craterhoof Behemoth. Yeah, I might have not given myself enough credit in my preamble. I was playing this deck when Mirror Entity was the win con, and then Crater Hoof Behemoth and Natural Order came later. So I might have been playing this deck as early as 2010, 2011. Because remember, Crater Hoof Behemoth is new tech. But this is ultimately a pure combo deck. Deathrite Shaman, again, appearing here, gave the deck a whole new dimension. It gives you this, air quotes, 1-mana Planeswalker. This helps your graveyard matchups. This helps in fair matchups. It lets you do something with one card, because most of the cards in this deck, in isolation, suck. Heritage Druid, literally 1-mana 1/1 without help. Nettle Sentinel, a 1-mana 2/2 that doesn't untap without help. Pretty bad stuff going on here, but Deathrite Shaman gave you a whole different angle. You could keep people off Threshold, you could blow out graveyard combo decks, you could gain life if you're racing trying to get to that combo turn. Just so many angles given by specifically this card. As far as my matchup today, game 1 is just going to be about speed, and game 2, Mindbreak Trap, Cabal Therapy, an extra natural order to go even faster. Rurik Thar, the Unbowed. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they take 6. Good luck storming through that. And Gaddock Teague, blocking out all of the Epic Storm's win cons. I guess you could Burning Wish for Brain Freeze under it. So not quite all of them, but it does make it a lot harder to win. And these are all real lists from the era. This is not me stacking my sideboard against Bryant today. I did nothing to metagame against him. I just picked 5 decks I liked from the time. And even at the time, we knew that combo was our bad matchup, so we do have tools for that. Also featuring the newly printed Abrupt Decay, which will not be coming in this matchup, but shout out to the Return to Ravnica block, and low-key, quite a few legacy cards there. Then I'm playing Esper Deathblade. This is a deck that I played before Deathrite Shaman. There was that 2010 to 2012 era, pre-Deathrite Shaman printing, where Rug Delver versus Esper Stoneblade was kind of the marquee matchup in Legacy. I played both sides of that matchup a lot. I never really got into the Deathrite Shaman builds of this because I was busy playing Elves. But this is a deck that's just good Legacy cards across the board. Plow, Inquisition, Thoughtseize. We got cantrips. No Ponder. People hadn't figured out Ponder yet. Brainstorm Preordain in here. Vendilion Click. This is a nice little action against combo decks. Brian's challenging me already. I'm not ready, dude. I'm doing my deck techs. Liliana of the Veil, which was not new, but was new-ish, came out alongside Delver of Secrets in the previous block before this era. This is just a full mid-range deck that has integrated Deathrite Shaman. We see Lingering Souls, the recent effect. This list is emblematic of the era, and this is something that I had to work around a little bit. You'll notice there's no Force of Wills in the main. They are all in the board. 4 Forces, 2 Flusters in the main. Meddling Mage over there too. There were a lot of lists playing 0 to 2 Forces main, and they had the rest in the board because the format was just so grindy at the time. And I could have picked a list that had the Forces in the main, but I chose to be true to the era. This is a real list that did well in a real tournament in 2013. I think this comes from Star City Invitational. My 4th list for the day is Rug Delver. This is the only list I'm playing today that is still legal in Legacy today. No banned cards here. This is the old school Nimble Mongoose, Tarmogoyf, Stifle, keep you off your shit, finish you off. Quick, do exactly 20 before you stabilize. Tempo deck, before the tempo decks knew how to draw cards. This is before Ragavan, Ren and 6, all that other stuff. This is really before Grixis Delver was discovered. I think Gurmag Angler has to come out for that deck to really pop off, and that one's not quite here yet at this point in time. Stifle Insane against the Storm deck, Spell Snare, Spell Pierce, got 2 of those. Daze Force. I like this one. And then I get to board in Flusterstorm, Spell Pierces as well. And I have Rough Tumbles for the Empty the Warrens. We've seen this deck in every era. And it's exciting that this gets to continue to be a through line, even through to today. And the showstopper. It wouldn't be 2013 if we weren't playing Miracles. This deck actually might be mediocre versus Storm. We saw Bryant's list had Abrupt Decays in it, which could blow up Counterbalance, which they couldn't do before this era. And Counterbalance is great. It counters their LEDs and Lotus Petals on 0. It counters their Dark Rituals, Silences, and Duresses on 1. It counters their tutors on 2. You could even reveal Force of Will and counter their ad nauseum. That's a famous thing that happened a lot in that format. That was like the classic bad beat. But this is a slow, clunky deck. There's a lot of white removal in the main deck. That's not helpful versus what he's doing. We do have Vendilion Click plus Caracas in here. Get that lock in out of the sideboard. Appearance of Supreme Verdict, another new card at the time. This was the deck at the time. This was the deck of the era. It's kind of insane looking back that I bothered with Elves when people could just flip Terminus at instant speed, but I was a sicko. I liked what I like. And I still like it now. Elves and Miracles both represented. Bryant's chomping at the bit over there. Let's go play these matches. We're going to start with Shardless BUG. The weekend of July 11th, I'll be headed to Baltimore for the DMV Legacy League's Triple Threat Weekend. CubeCon DMV is the heart of the event, featuring 3 drafts of elite curated cubes with a cut to top 8 on Sunday. Saturday, you can test your mettle in the DMV Legacy League's annual Legacy Open, the Classic. And Sunday, join the NYC Pauper League in Pauper Genesis, the biggest Pauper event in North America to date. And best of all, the event is for charity. Sign up at dmvll.com/BoshNRoll. Save $20 if you sign up for the Classic before June 1st. I'll see you there. On the draw for round 1, I think we're going to alternate play draw. I have to verify that with Bryant, but I have a Force of Will in my hand, which is as much as I can hope for. I'm not sure how the Epic Storm players qualify the eras. I know there was an era where they just called their deck Black Belcher, where just a turn 1 powerful send was all they were going for, and you just take the 60% chance that your opponent doesn't have Force in their hand. But the Cataxian Probe era might not be the full send era, because opponent now sees what I got. On a mull to 5, this is actually tough. There are no basic lands in this list. If he sees Force of Will, he knows I can Wasteland him. Ponder. There you go. All right, I'm going to try to slow this game down, and he's going to have to slow this game down too, probably. Shuffle the Ponder. Oh, God, that's nice. I think wasting is still the way to go. A mull to 5, get Probe, Shuffle, Ponder. If I can just dodge. Oh, yeah, this land will die on its own after a couple turns. Another Ponder. It's fun with my modern day sensibilities, because I'm looking at this Polluted Delta Verdant Catacombs in my hand, and just my brain is shortcutting to that's Surveil, when that's not the case. Another Shuffle. Shardless Agent. I'll get a fetch land in the mix. Okay, passing to me. I'm going to fetch in the end step, because I don't want to draw a land. And I have another one for Brainstorm anyway. No Veil of Summer. Not for another 7 years here. Got 2 artifacts out of the hand with that Hymn to Turok. And the Shardless Agents are going to start raining down here. And because I have 2 of them, I don't even have to think about, do I want to spend a time brainstorming to get Ancestral Vision on top of the deck? I can send one and then send another. Shardless Agent. Ancestral Vision, don't mind if I do. Oh, this is the good shit. Hook it to my veins. I don't think Abrupt Decay matters here. And it's like Abrupt Decay or a land. And land could be valuable because I'm trying to go to the moon. But Abrupt Decay, unless he plays out a Lion's Eye Diamond. Alright, got one anyway. We take it, I guess. A fetch for basically any land is fine. Brainstorm. Another Force of Will. Okay, so Abrupt Decay and Ancestral Vision on top of the deck. Shardless Agent. Vish myself. Attack. I'll discard land and Abrupt Decay. And my plan is to slam 2 Tarmogoyfs next turn and make this game over very quickly. Opponent is up to 6 cards in hand, though. Getting that grind. Is this a Cabal Therapy build? There's 1 Cabal Therapy. Okay. That card I'm a little worried about. But I would just force it. The Doctor! Okay. Attack with 2 Shardlesses. Do I need to dump out my hand, or can I keep some mystery in the world? I could just play 2 Tarmogoyfs and Deathrite Shaman here. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is already lethal. Fuck it, we ball. Bang. Okay, he knows I have Force blue card. He doesn't know I have exactly the same secondary Force blue card. The Deathrite could help me get over a medium size Empty the Warrens. Silence. Well, I will force that, pitching Brainstorm. Petal. Chrome Mox. 2 cards left over there. At 10 life, Ad Nauseam's not very good. Dark Ritual. Sorry, those 2 Ancestral Recalls were pretty good. Yeah, the slow games obviously favor me, and we both know that. Okay. Blusterstorm in. Hymn to Turok. Liliana of the Veil. Golgari Charm, another new card from the era. A lot of the charms from this cycle have seen play in high power formats like Modern Plus, and this is one of them. That can sweep up Empty the Warrens tokens. If he tries to go small to get under my discard, having sweepers like Maelstrom Pulse plays there as well. Okay, Abrupt Decay stinks. Baleful Strix is blue, but mostly stinks. Tarmogoyf, I mean, we gotta win somehow, but I think I would rather cut some non-blue cards. My 4th Force of Will is not even in this list. I'm noticing that now in real time. Doesn't even exist. How fussed about my blue card count do I need to be when I'm playing 3 forces? I'm used to having 5 or 6 these days. Do I need 22 lands in my deck? Yeah, there's only Brainstorm. Like, there's no Ponder's Preordains to get things moving in the mana. So I think I do need all my lands. Adjusting in real time to the sensibilities of the time is fun. I am enjoying figuring this out. All right, I think I'm going to go with 3rd Goyf and a Baleful Strix out. I don't have a lot of closing power now, but it's not my job to close, I don't think. Okay, on the draw for game 2, my hand is pretty bad. If he goes all in on Empty the Warrens, I can mop it up. Like, Suspend Visions turn 1, Golgari Charm turn 2. But if he has a Duress, this hand becomes bad. He was already on a Malta 6. Like, I would never consider this hand versus the Epic Storm today, but without Beseech the Mirror and all these deterministic ways to win, those medium-sized empties on turn 1 really are a big part of the game. I'm actually going to try this for science. If he kept 7, I think I would mulligan this, but like if Duress is what I'm worried about, and I mull to Force of Will, and I get Duress from a 4 or 5 card hand, that's just worse. LED, LED. There's no Echo of Eons. From Mox. Alright, we're just going to turn 1 Naus, and this is the send. Okay, Ad Nauseam's coming from 20. It had to be one of my 3 forces here. Like, I'm not going to feel too bad about this mulligan decision, because I'm more likely to find one of my Thoughtseizes or Flusterstorms than I am my 3 forces. And it had to be Force here. We found a Burning Wish after flipping a lot of cards. That should be enough. Yeah, there's a Dark Ritual. And he can keep going. There are 4 drops in the deck. So as long as you're at 5 or more, you could just keep flipping cards. All right. I am going to concede to Gataxian Probe. I'll let him have his fun. All right. I don't want him to see Golgari Charm. Okay, now it's my turn to be on the play, where I will mulligan more aggressively to a Thoughtseize or Flusterstorm if my hand doesn't interact. We saw Xantid Swarm come in out of the board, which is not a surprise, but it is a nice reminder. Golgari Charm can also kill Xantid Swarm. I'm not going to have Disfigure or Abrupt Decay in my deck for that. Yeah, Xantid Swarm doesn't stop discard spells from making his hand too bad to combo. Okay, I mean, just the nuts. I will keep this. Well, if there was the nuts, this would be a fetch land. Do I want to... No. Okay. I'm going to play Creeping Tar Pit to turn on the Hymn to Turok for turn 2. Because I don't have another blue card. If I could hold up Fluster and Force here, I would consider just taking my time on the Hymn to Turok. But that's not how this is going to work. Well, that's interesting. I could develop Deathrite with Flusterstorm available, and then him next turn. I think I'm just going to bonk your face here. No, I'm not. I like the Flusterstorm. You just get so many options when Deathrite Shaman is active. Gataxian Probe. Okay. Can you beat a Flusterstorm? And it's totally possible. A Gataxian Probe is gross, dude. And you could play 4 of them. So I'm out of interaction regardless here. Like, I don't have another blue card to pitch. So I can let this silence be silence and just hope I'm not dead. Or it could be Duress. Yeah, okay. So if I had responded to that, he then would have Duressed my other counterspell. Okay, fetch or drop. I think I have enough black mana. Tarmogoyf, the one I left in my deck. Just out here vibing. And this is where Deathrite Shaman becomes a big asshole. I can start just chewing up my opponent's graveyard. You're losing real life points every turn. Losing that hymn stinks, but my opponent did spend 2 cards to deal with it. Like, I didn't fall for the silence trick, and Duress took Hymn to Tarak. It's like Hymn to Tarak got silence and Duress out of their hand. That's one way to think about it. And I'm about to untap into Hardcast Force. Alright, still not falling for this shit. Big Xantid Swarm. Okay, that gets all the cards out of my hand. LED. End step, exile Gitaxian Probe from my opponent's graveyard. Underground Sea. And I guess all I can do is apply damage here, right? Xantid Swarm's going to attack. That's a free action that I can't punish in any way. We're going to stand up this creepy tar pit and just swing. I can at least make Ad Nauseam bad. Alright, you're up. Coast is clear, 3 cards in hand. I'm showing exactly 8 damage with this land drop. Attack for 6, then activate Deathrite. City of Brass, 2 cards left. What do we got? Can we do it? And it's fun when Ad Nauseam is one of their routes to victory, and the life total actually matters. A blue-black in the pool. Infernal Tutor. Crack LED in response. This is exactly 5 mana. If Naws from 7 is the line. Or... oh yeah, they gotta do it. Alright, 5 life. Petal's really good. 4 life. There are instant death flips in the deck now. Dark Ritual. And you have to get your hand empty for this Infernal Tutor to matter. Alright, down to 1. Oh no! The LED! I think that's it! I think that's the win. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this is exactly Tendrils, but Storm's not enough. This might have to be a Tendrils to just stay alive for a turn. Is that even a viable thing you can do? Oh wait, no, the Tendrils is in the sideboard, and this is Infernal Tutor. Okay, if that was Burning Wish, might have had a line. Alright, cool. That was tight. Just put the damage on him. You got to go through Ad Nauseam. That's why they don't build a deck like that anymore. On to the next round with Elves. July 24th through 26th, Excalibur Events will be running one of their 3-day weekends in Columbus, Ohio. This event will feature a CEDH 25K, Riftbound tournaments, sorcery tournaments, and Magic side events, including, on Sunday, a pre-modern 5K, which I will be attending and participating in. If you want to come compete, sign up in the link in the video description and use code KOVAL for $5 off entry. I'll see you there. I am on the play for round number 2. I have... alright, I gotta remember my elf math. So I can play Deathrite Shaman on 1, and then Zenith for Heritage Druid on 2. Is that better than Zenith for Dryad Arbor on 1? I need a Heritage Druid is the problem. Having the Nettle Sentinel's nice. A second land over one of these Deathrites in this hand would be insane. I think I am going to keep it. Enough of the pieces are here that I want to try to have some faith in it. And if I simply get dumpstered, there was nothing I could do about that anyway. We'll get Bayou, play Deathrite. I don't know if you all noticed, but I tapped the Bayou for green, even though it's the second option to cast Deathrite, because my brain, even all these years later, doesn't comprehend that this is a black card too. That's just among the dumbest things. Alright, a second Zenith is nice. This is Zenith for Dryad Arbor, cast Nettle Sentinel, and next turn try to win. Zenith for Heritage Druid, let it rip. City of Brass. Am I dead? Taxian Probe. It makes it really easy to know if you need to Cabal Therapy, Duress, or Silence me. Which you do. Or just kill me outright. That's fine too. But one of the things about Elves that I really enjoyed about playing it is me seeing these 7 cards I have access to. I'm like, this is a pretty reasonable shot that I win the game this turn. But somebody else seeing these same cards might not know all that. But I think Bryant is strong enough at Legacy and was playing during this era that this is a scary hand. Dark Writ. F6, go nuts, homie. First appearance of Rite of Flame, let's go. Here are all the things. Duress, that's brutal. Losing the Zenith or the Glimpse here are both bad. Burning Wish. Yeah, I think you make goblins here. Putting me to 1 doesn't really matter with Tendrils. That was smart of me not to draw a fetch land this turn. Okay, 18 Gobbleritos. And can we turn the corner? Gaia's Cradle's hell of a corner turn. Right, how do I do this now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana available. The various 1-drops are air quotes free. Opponent does have a land in the graveyard. The death rate is worth mana. I think I need to kill him. I need to get to Crater Hoof. I have 1 turn to figure it out. I can go to 1 on this attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And Wireward Symbiote can untap somebody. I think I can hoof next turn. Okay. Wireward Symbiote, cast it. I can gain life. Or I can't gain life with Deathrite. I can only deal damage. Okay. Gaia's Cradle. Play Deathrite. This also gives me 3 blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Untap 1 for 9. Yeah, I have exactly Cradle for Hoof next turn if I don't get Duressed or Silenced. An opponent will be at 14 from me Death Rating in the end step, or in response to a Rite of Flame, maybe. I guess I don't care about a Rite of Flame. Opponent's Hellbent. Also, apologies for just the ugliest versions of every card here. I'm on my Daybreak MTGO creator account to avoid having to put together 5 different decks for this 1 match each. The path of least resistance has been taken. Here come the shitbirds, all you can do. Block, block, block. Take 15. Is your hand a good card? White in the pool. The hell is this? Oh, sick. You're going to grab Silence. Clever. All right, I'm cooked. That was a good draw, and he found the line to actually utilize it. Disappointing. All right, I'll exile a Rite of Flame from your graveyard, and then I just get immediately silenced. Yeah, tight. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers. That's not going to do it. Had to fade that one top deck and couldn't do it. That's a shame. Getting game 1 would have gone a long way in this matchup. Mindbreak Trap, Natural Order, Rurik Thar, Gaddock Teague. Mortarpod is hilarious, old tech. I'm kind of surprised to see it in a list that has the Craterhoof Behemoth in it, because we were winning with Mortarpod before Craterhoof was printed. The mirror entity loops in this deck basically give you all of the creatures in your deck in play with infinite mana available, and you can make them infinitely large, but if they can't attack, then it doesn't matter. So Mortarpod, you can just sacrifice, you can cast your whole deck and then sacrifice all the creatures to deal 20. I actually killed Brad Nelson once in a SCG Open where I was on Elves, he was on Sneak and Show, and he went to 1 from 3 to tap an Ancient Tomb on the last turn of the game to play Show and Tell, and I put in Mortarpod and bonked him for the last point. One of my favorite moments. Okay, what do we got here? Deathrite Shaman, not important. Regal Force. I mean, that is a mid-combo option if Hoof's not ready to go. It's kind of weird that this much sideboard is available. Yeah, Regal Force is one of the grindy cards. Elvish Visionary, we don't really have time for that. I think I can leave 1 Vision in the deck in case the game gets weird. Sometimes it's right, you just have so many Zeniths in your hand that cashing 1 out for an Elvish Visionary, which might be worth a bunch of cards with a bunch of Wirewood Symbiotes in play, that could be a game plan. Am I bringing in these Cabal Therapies? It seems like the place for it, but also my job is speed here. All right, I, at least on the play, am going for speed and not messing with the therapies. Hey, what's this one do? I have Llanowar Elves. This does not do enough. I'm going to mulligan. When does this Natural Order turn on? Turn 1, Birchlure Ranger. Turn 2, Glimpse Symbiote. Draw a card. This is kind of slow also. I am going to keep it for the upside, though. And this matchup is just poor. What are you going to do? You're trying to thread the needle of my opponent's really fast, but I'm also really fast. And you can't just mulligan to a Mindbreak Trap on 4 cards and hope it's good enough, because they have 4 Gitaxian Probes. They're going to know about it. And I'm going to fetch my Savannah here, just in case I top deck Gaddock Teague. If I draw any elf, I might be able to have a mini combo here. Is any 1 mana elf? Oh my god! Put me in the Hall of Fame, you fuckers. The Legacy Hall of Fame. Okay. Gaddock Teague is in play now. That means I can't natural order, but opponent's deck is largely non-functional as well. Right, can I draw a 1-mana elf and do stuff? Yes, I can. Okay. Glimpse of Nature. Llanowar Elves. Draws a card. I can't cast Zenith either. Wired Symbiote. Draws a card. Mindbreak Trap's now in play. Now opponent has 2 hurdles to get over. Has to kill Gaddock Teague and then do something else. Okay, tap 2 Elves. Llanowar Elves and Birchlore Ranger. Firewood Symbiote, untap Birchlore Ranger. Recast Llanowar Elves, draw another card. Nettle Sentinel, draw another card. Did draw a land, but I am out of action. Okay, Gaddock Teague, stepping on my own tail a bit here, but I have to imagine my opponent is doing worse than me. Chain of Vapor. Oh no. Alright, I'll just have to Mindbreak Trap. Okay, let's see if he can get through both things. 1 spell. Pitched Cabal Therapy, okay. That means he's going for it. He could have Cabal Therapy Gaddock Teague while the getting was good. Alright, this is your last spell for the turn. Infernal Tutor. Sack the LED. Alright, cool. Yeah, I'll let the Tutor resolve and then clip the Adnaz. Boy, do we love Mindbreak Trap. And that Glimpse of Nature drawing 4 cards, that got me into the Mindbreak Trap. There it is. Okay. Now I'm on the draw. Honestly, the Gaddock Teague plus 3 uncastable cards in my hand because of Gaddock Teague combo felt kind of poor there. But also, my opponent couldn't win without removing Gaddock Teague, and then Mindbreak Trap was there waiting in the wings. I think I can shave my Crop Rotation. Crop Rotation's there so you can have a burst of mana mid-combo. You can turn 1 Birchlore Ranger tap into a Gaia's Cradle and suddenly have 6 mana instead of 1. That is part of the speed plan. Okay, so back in the day, Heritage Druid and Nettle Sentinel were frequent shaves to the plan when you needed space. Wirewood Symbiote is actually quite slow in combo matchups too. When you shave the Visionaries, it's frequently okay to shave Symbiotes as well, because this is the best friend team. Elvish Visionary plus Wirewood Symbiote, that's your mid-game grind, drawing 2 or 3 cards a turn with that against grindy decks, but that's not where we are. And now on the draw here, would it be better for me to cut another Wirewood Symbiote and get a Heritage Druid back in if I am building for speed? Yeah, Symbiote out, Heritage Druid in. Heritage Druid is quite good at casting Natural Order, and getting Rurik Thar into play is nice. I could go no hoof and just go into Thar, but with 4 Natural Orders in the deck, if I draw one of the bangers, I want to be able to still get the other one. High Octane Magic, either way. Okay, I am going to hope I don't get turn 1 and keep this hand with Cabal Therapy in it. Taxian Probe, so violating every time. Now he both knows the coast is clear and knows to play out his LEDs to get around Cabal Therapy. Yeah, I don't know if that play would have been made without the Gitaxian Probe. Okay, what do I need to do here? We've got 4 copies each of Burning Wish and Infernal Tutor, 4 copies of Dark Ritual. Lion's Eye Diamond is my go-to name versus Storm in the blind with Therapy, but because he knew it was coming, he was able to get it out of the way. It's kind of a coin flip between Infernal Tutor and Burning Wish at this point. Another option I could take is just play Deathrite Shaman, hope I'm not dead, and flip the script on this Cabal Therapy, just cook his life. Alright, I'm going to name Infernal Tutor with the Cabal Therapy. Brainstorm in response, hiding the goods. Okay, now I'll probably name Dark Ritual. Gotta think of like the second best card he might have left in his hand. Infernal Tutor. Or just fully donked me. All of the things I would have named were in the hand if he didn't brainstorm, but then he brainstormed. Rite of Flame. Yeah, I think I'm just dead here. Ah, the Dark Ritual was the hide. That was so clever. Yeah, I guess if you have a lot of mana but 1 tutor, you hide the tutor, but having 2 tutors means you can hide the ritual. So I just got fully got by the texture of his hand right now. All right, we're getting naused. All right, F6, off you go. I hope this whiffs. He's used his land drop already in 1 LED. Chrome Mox, pretty nice. Dark Ritual, Chrome Mox, Dark Ritual, 2 Rite of Flames, Lotus Petal. This is more than enough. You can stop. I'm going to let him have his fun, but I am dead here. Yeah, the Cabal Therapy subgame is fun. Like, if his hand is 2 Dark Rituals and 1 Tutor, I just 2-for-1 him there. but because it's 2 tutors and Dark Ritual, I 0 for 1'd him. And there it is. Smoked. GG's. Miracle top deck game 1 into just the Cabal Therapy shell game on the draw, game 3. Pretty fun match. High octane. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the draw in round 3 with Esper Deathblade. And I've been a little bit discourteous here to my opponent because I have his whole list and I just told him the archetypes I'm playing. And I could tell him that all of my Force of Wills are in the sideboard, but I'm not going to, because part of the gambit of building your deck like this in the era was that your opponent's going to assume that your deck has Force of Will in it. And I want to give him a chance to figure that out for one game. And there's nothing on the line here. We're just having fun. Also, he's a deck with 4 Gitaxi probes. He's just going to see a hand with no force in it and assume I just don't have one. Unfortunately, as beautiful as this hand is, I have to mull it for this particular matchup. Oh no. Straight to 5. Come on. There's lands in this deck, right? 23 lands. That's an absurd land count for a Legacy deck. All right. I guess I have to play this one. 1, 2, 3 to the bottom. Play Karumba. I mean, if this Thoughtseize somehow just strips a tutor and makes his hand non-functional and I draw a land right away, we might be able to play this game. Gitaxian Probe. Every game starts that way. Okay, I didn't die. Ooh, another one. Am I getting silenced? There's a pause in my draw step. You dirty, dirty dog. Okay, pass the turn. So either he needed 1 turn to develop and now I'm dead, or completely borked my tempo, and now even if I draw the land, I can't add the Dark Confidant. All right, maybe 1 turn was the window. This play made possible by Gitaxian Probe. All right, F6, off you go. Have fun. 2 Dark Rituals, a Burning Wish, and a Chrome Mox. We just need a Lotus Petal or another Chrome Mox here. Okay, he's at 4, which means there are death outcomes here, but I don't think he has the win yet, unless he wants to pass. Oh no, there was a Lotus Petal there the whole time. No, I'm just dead. Sorry about that. I didn't see that in there. There's just plenty of black mana for the Tendrils, and then the Burning Wish. I guess Storm isn't lethal yet. Put me to 2. Oh, where'd this 3rd Dark Ritual come from? Never mind, I'm dead. Oh, it was at the top of the stack. Yeah. You got it. The tempo plays with silence have been pretty cool in this league. Gotta give it to him. Meddling Mage, Force of Will, Flusterstorm in. Now 8 cards in that were not in there at all before. Umezawa's Jitte is interesting because this can help you grind through a goblin battlefield. And here we have the OnZD versus the BoshNRoll decision making, where OnZD, back when he played Magic and was one of the premier Miracles players, he was really into playing every card you could play that could solve any problem you could find yourself in. Like, he would have the Supreme Verdict in just in case the game ends up going 4 turns versus a small Empty the Warrens, where I think Supreme Verdict kind of stinks, and I would like to min-max just that not happening to me. But I don't know if that's right. As Batterskull also functionally blocks 9 goblins per turn, because you block 1, you gain 4 life against 4 unblocked attackers, then you attack with Vigilance, gain 4 life. I don't think I want Jitte here. Like, between my discards, my counter spells, my meddling mages, do I need something like Supreme Verdict in case the goblins go wide and I've done none of these things to stop it? I am gonna believe in my own theories here. There are only 2 weapons in this main deck, sort of Feast and Famine in the board. And Feast and Famine does kind of rip. That's another way to make my opponent discard, and it means I don't have to board out a bunch of Stoneforge Mystics. Kind of running out of things to cut here. Maybe this sword doesn't work and I cut one Dark Confidant. Okay, I'll try this. Oh, well, I'll believe in the cleave here. Thoughtseize you off of my Miser's Bayou. That's just there to gain life with Deathrite sometimes. Okay, your hand stinks, which is what I needed here. Take the Brainstorm. And then I can wasteland these cities of brass to buy time until I'm actually doing something. I think Deathrite Shaman is one of my best draws. Oh my god! Hang it in the Louvre. Waste you. Play the Deathrite. Okay, now I'm doing something. There's the other city. And another Deathrite. Waste you again. Play this Doctor. And I'm not going to attack here. I want him thinking about Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm. And just like that, Jace the Mind Sculptor is now a castable card. Though Silence is particularly annoying because Deathrite Shaman is not a mana ability. Like, opponent could respond to one of these Deathrite activations by silencing me. Blue. All right, that window has passed. Jace TMS. Fate Seal you. I'm not going to put Cabal Therapy on the bottom of your deck. You can have that one. I'm trying to fade payoffs here. Okay, the conversation between Brainstorm and Fate Seal here is an interesting one, but I am going to Brainstorm. I don't need a third Deathrite or this Flooded Strand. Fetch or Underground Sea. And I'm going to cast Preordain. Inquisition of Kozilek. Give me that. Inquisit you. Okay, hand still stinks. Good to know. Should I attack the mana? The Chrome Mox and Lotus Petal, I think, are the takes here. Chrome Mox at least costs 2 cards and you have to pick a color, but it does stay in play. I'm going to take Lotus Petal. And I am still holding up one of these Deathrites for mana. It's not even really a bluff anymore. I could just cast Brainstorm. Wall Therapy, pass. He snipes my Brainstorm here. Good job. Force of Will. Does that mean you kick the door open? Does not. End of turn. Exile the Cabal Therapy. Drain you for 2. Vendilion Click. Hell yeah. I love this guy. All right. Stop during your draw step. And am I going to win this game with damage or with exiling my opponent's deck? I think it's with damage. Brainstorm. Wasteland. Hell yeah. Put back 2 lands. Waste you. And exile your land. Make black. I'm going to play Dark Confidant, which I know is going to hit a land. And then in the upkeep, or in the draw step, I'll Vendilion Click and get my 3rd look at their hand this game. Blue. Vendilion Click. Yeah, alright. Hiding the goods. Okay, who needs Force of Will? I don't think anything changes here. It's just going back to debating, do I want Sword of Feast and Famine and Supreme Verdict? I kind of ran out of time to make this decision last game. And I think the answer is no, I just don't want these things. And Sword of Feast and Famine looks anemic, especially if you didn't play Legacy back then, but this thing, if this gets truckin', your opponent dies so fast, or at least runs out of options so fast, and you could do stuff like tap out for Jace, hit them, and then hold up a bunch of other interaction. I don't think I'm going to do it. On the draw, I might be more tempted to have the Supreme Verdict out to a small goblin. Nah, I'm off it. I'll just play my deck. Show me a good hand. Let's go. All right, very into this hand. I'll keep. Man, this is what Fire Design took from us. Look at this hand. Taxine Probe. Fire Design can keep that one. All right, well, am I dead? Am I getting tempo silenced again? Both of these are options. Black in the pool. The Cabal Therapy, the one of Cabal Therapy. Are there more in the sideboard? Oh, there are more in the sideboard, sure. I can live with that. All right, that is the tempo Cabal Therapy. Buys a turn of action. Now, it's actually really interesting. Should I Wasteland this opponent or play Deathrite? And I think I should Wasteland. Because tempo Cabal Therapy buying 1 turn gets kind of undone by tempo Wasteland. And this deck plays a low land count. Though obviously I would rather have Deathrite Shaman in play if I'm not dead right now. Okay. Shields are down. Opponent knows Meddling Mage is looming. But opponent also has 2 payoffs in the deck. There's both Burning and the other Wish. Okay, Brainstorm. Fix my hand, give me choices. Oh my god. What an abomination. Okay, that didn't go great. Fetch Tundra. Exile your Underground Sea. Blue, white, Meddling Mage. Naming what? Lion's Eye Diamond? And Lion's Eye Diamond does supercharge both of the tutors. Yeah, I'm going to attack mana. I don't know if that's right, but without being able to see his hand, I can't be sure. Okay, no plays for an entire turn cycle. I like that. Jace the Mind Sculptor is about to be on the stack. Here's Jace. And I am going to Brainstorm. The opponent doesn't know anything in my hand right now. I'll get rid of this Bayou and hide the Inquisition, because that's the card I actually want. Okay, under real pressure now. Life total getting smaller. My hand's getting better. If you have something, it's time to do it. Hard Cask Ataxian Probe. That's not a show of strength. Inquisition U. Abrupt Decay is there. I'm going to take this Infernal Tutor. That's a lot of fucking silences. Right, Infernal Tutor's gone. And I will Brainstorm. Vendilion Click, my guy. Put back Bayou and Delta. Or Bayou and Strand. Yeah, I'm going to fetch the Bayou, actually. Attack with Meddling Mage. Gonna stop in your draw step. And I'm going to fetch Bayou now. And I'm actually going to use Deathrite currently to play Deathrite. Draw step, Vendilion Click. Let's have a peek. Just more of the same. I could take the Abrupt Decay, but I'm also don't care. Like, it's hard to cast. Yeah, you can have all these cards. You don't have to let them draw with Vendilion Click. You can also target yourself with the Vendilion Click. There's a lot of options with that card. And if your hand is Stinkery Doos, I'm going to let you keep it. Snapcaster Mage. I love that guy. Oh, Snapcaster, they could silence in response. That does commit to fetching a white land, though. White lands. Oh, do you not have a white land? No, you actually need your artifact mana or a 5-color land, so you can't silence me right now. I will not and cannot be silenced. Okay, I'm going to plus with Jace here, because my hand is really good. All right, Chrome Mox. I am not going to put that on the bottom, because we're playing the fetch land subgame right now, where he's going to think there's a bad card on top of his deck. Hopefully he's going to fetch away, but he also might know that I know this game. No, I got him. All right. I kind of don't want him to have Chrome Mox, because that unlocks white mana. Yeah, go ahead. Take the fetch. My hand is pretty nice. So Lotus Petal Silence, Rite of Flame, up the chain. Could get something going here. But opponent is functionally at 4 life, because I have 2 face-up Death Rites. Like, Ad Nauseum's not out. Yeah, he's just out of options here. A little too much interaction, not enough send. Nice one.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
On the play for round 4 with Rug Delver. No lander, gotta pitch it back. This is the classic 18 land tempo deck. I don't love this hand. It's very slow, but I'm not going to mull it. I do have a turn 1 threat plus Force of Will, though this is not the Nimble Mongoose matchup. You want this versus Swords to Plowshares decks, you just can't really do anything against it. You don't want it versus the Storm decks that can afford to take 1 a bunch of times. I would have rather led on Delver, but I didn't have another blue card for Force. Gataxian Probe, there it goes again. And it's like living in a house with no curtains or doors, and anyone who wants to just look at you whenever they want can do that. Ponder. Okay, I could add Delver and have a blue card back, but I think I'd rather Ponder. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Stifle, Stifle, Daze. Don't shuffle. Attack. I'm going to smoke this fetch land if he goes for it. With one Stifle, I might be more careful about it, but with two, jam that shit. From Mox. I'm not going to Stifle the Imprint, though. That is a thing you can do. Dark Root. Okay, he's seen the Force. All right, now I'm not going to Stifle. He's committed a Dark Ritual to this board. Let's game. Rite of Flame. Infernal Tutor. Ugh. Going for a non-Hellbent Infernal Tutor. This is looking for another copy of a card you already have. That's a lot of Rite of Flames. Oh, he's going to empty my Warrens, and I'm going to get him with Stifle. Oh, baby. Burning Wish. Resolves. Why didn't I force Burning Wish? What am I doing? Now he can get Cabal Therapy. Cabal Therapy targeting me. I guess I have to force this, because now Stifle is the only card he can care about. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some things never change. I'm still currently losing this game, funny enough. But it's a long way off. Because I'm drawing Stifle and Daze over my next 2 turns, and my opponent is winning the damage race. I just need to get Threshold, or to find 1 removal spell, or 1 larger creature, and all that changes. Okay. He would rather rebuild than race me. Interesting. Yeah, that's the strategic awareness of a Storm player. That me, a Smooth Brain, Control and Tempo player. I'm just doing combat math, and he's already back up to 2 cards in hand. Another Guise. Alright, I'm 4 cards away from World Domination. Volcanic Island. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna bolt a Goblin and attack with both Monguise. I think I'm okay losing one to push damage with the other. This also gives me 5 cards for Threshold. Okay. Oh, he's saving it for Cabal Therapy. Clever, clever. Alright. Yeah, he's keeping track of things that I have to figure out by the context clues. This is my 5th card for my graveyard. I could Stifle my own fetch land, and then also Daze the Stifle to get Threshold, if he just, like, passes the turn at 6 life without doing anything. I hope the game doesn't come to that. That's some shit. Force of Will. Alright, well, my hand is getting quite good. Having Force and Stifle in my hand gives me a lot of game versus that face-up Cabal Therapy. Race is still on. Mongoose Gaming is so satisfying, even if it's so weird by modern standards. Oh my god, a real card. Ponder. Found Spell Pierce and Wasteland. I actually like both of these cards a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can get Threshold right now, but it would cost me the Spell Pierce. Okay. I'm taking Wasteland. Waste you. Fetch. Kind of put you in use it or lose it situation where my hand is 2 really good cards. Ad Nauseum's all the way off. Nausing from 4 is preposterous. Alright, this attack means he's going for it. Like, that blocker could have kept him alive for a turn, but he's going to Cabal Therapy here. Gitaxian Probe. Alright, you know my secrets. You're at 2. Is there an out to this situation? Therapy happens. And with 7 cards in hand, could definitely make something happen here. 2 life means Naws is off. The main deck, empty, has already been spent. Force of Will named. Chrome Mox. Can't afford to fight that. I could Stifle the Imprint here. I don't think that's better than saving it for the whatever the payoff is, though. Like, if I Stifle this Imprint and then Daze the Dark Ritual, but just a Lotus Petal from hand cooks that line. And I haven't Gitaxian Probe my opponent a bunch of times. Apparently the Rug Delver players of the era weren't playing 4 of these yet when they could have. That comes up big in the Deathrite era. The Deathrite Gitaxian Probe Grixis Delver. Okay, LED, LED. Brainstorm. Are we going for a YOLO? Yeah, okay. This is the find the goods. Hope they're actually good. Emergency Brainstorm. There's no reason to Daze here. That just builds Storm without actually taking him off anything. Wow, nice. That was a good game. I wasn't expecting to be in a cat and mouse combat situation with 1 Mongoose versus 2 Goblins. If Pyroblast gets the cantrips in the deck, that is good enough to bring in. I don't want Dismember. Forked Bolt, pretty embarrassing. Enlightening Bolt does feed Threshold in a way that is satisfying, and their life total does matter with Ad Nauseum. But I think cutting the red cards... Oh, wait, Xantid Swarm is going to come in. And Rough straight up doesn't kill it. Okay, I should have some bolts. What do I cut? Every other card is so good. Maybe it's actually Nimble Mongoose. Like that pressure did add up over the course of the game, but it's by far the worst threat in my deck. Maybe I'll actually cut a rough for another bolt, because getting just fully punked by a Xantid Swarm is not what I want to do today. And I have one rough in my deck that I can dig for if an Empty the Warrens gets through my wall of interaction here. Okay, let's go. The BoshNRoll min-max versus the OnZD. Play all the cards that stop you from losing. Okay, I'll keep. Again, Force of Will is the only thing I can do on turn 0, and I'm not going to be mauling functional hands for specifically Force of Will. Just have to accept that the game is harder when I'm on the draw. Taxian Probe, Ponder. Did shuffle Ponder. Another Pierce. All right, I'm going to hold up Pierce and pass the turn, especially knowing there's a bunch of Cabal therapies in the deck after board. And I'm going to rip off this Pierce aggressively. And the reason for this is he shuffled the Ponder, and I drew a second Spell Pierce. So him knowing I have Spell Pierce makes Spell Pierce worse. And now he doesn't know I have one, but I do have one, which makes it better. Like him having seen a Pierce and then me taking it away is actually a better play than it just being face up and known. I have 2 unknowns in my hand, and they're both incredible. Okay, Delver gets to build my own Scry. Delver sees Volcanic Island. I'll shuffle that away before I have to draw it. Brainstorm, pretty nice card. Attack with Delver. And I'm going to play my Mongoose here with both of these 1-mana interactions up. Stifle is nice. Even Xantid Swarm, I could stifle the attack trigger and then still have counterspells up for the second main phase. That buys me a little turn against that sort of thing. All right, I'll continue beating up here. My hand's pretty good, and Stifle is one of the best cards in the matchup. I'm not going to Brainstorm to aggressively flip my Delver. I don't think I need to do that. Wasteland. Okay. I'm not going to flip Delver, but I'm also not going to shuffle. Brainstorm. The Goyf. I don't need this Flooded Strand. I don't need this Ponder. Waste that Underground Sea. Keep collapsing those resources. Attack. I hope I put Ponder on top of my deck with Brainstorm. I think I did. For Delver purposes. Alright, hope I didn't mess this up. Ponder revealed. Ponder drawn. This Ponder guarantees Threshold as well. Another Ponder. No thanks. I'll shuffle that. Found Spell Snare. You'll love to see it. Fetch. And now this Tarmogoyf seems superfluous. But again, my hand's really good. Taxian Probe. I wonder if he'll just scoop. Taxian Probe can't beat that shit. The Probe also puts him to 6 life, which means he's now all in when he could have maybe had another turn. Oh, silence. Well, that's what I deserve. My interaction specifically does not beat silence. Talking a little too much shit here. So if he's brainstorming, though, that means he doesn't have it yet. Looking for some piece, but this is the window where you've got to do it. And this era of Delver into Storm's actually really interesting, because this put the idea that Storm is a great matchup for Delver into people's brains. And that was true for a while. But then cards like Veil of Summer were printed, and Galvanic Relay, and Storm decks just started getting built a little differently. Plus new cards existed that didn't before. And if you are playing cards like Veil of Summer, then you get cards like Carpet of Flowers, and like technology was discovered. Old tech was discovered that matches the deck building for the new tech. And Storm kind of likes pairing into the red Delver decks now. Not so much the Thoughtseize ones, but the red ones for sure. All right, yeah, I expected to win this match, and I did. That's a tough one to put him through. And the last one's going to be Miracles. Let's do it.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables.
On the draw in the final round, Counterbalance is kind of the whole idea here, the best card I could have. Having all this white removal, and I mentioned it in the deck tech, this deck is divided between nice blue cards and terrible white cards. Okay, I'll keep this one. There's also a lot of lands in this deck. I should probably... Is Swords to Plowshares a better bottom than Entreat the Angels? Because I could Brainstorm Entreat to the top and counter a 3. There's no 3s. Hold on. Yeah, Entreat I would rather have in my deck than Plow, even though they're both blank. Looking for that second blue source, second counterspell, or second counterbalance. Instep Brainstorm. I wish I could get a Meticulous Archive here and smooth out this draw, find the second land. There are 22 lands in this deck, and 3 of them don't cast Counterbalance. So I'm looking at 18 outs in 53 cards right now. Dark Writ, Fetch, Burning Wish. I'm going to counter that, pitching a Counterbalance. I just have 2 of these. And if that gets a Cabal Therapy from the sideboard and then names Counterbalance, you're going to get 2 cards off me anyway. And if you have the win anyway, and that was going to get Cabal Therapy and name Force of Will, you have the win anyway. This is like, my opponent would have to mess this up for me to possibly win. Okay. Yeah, this is deterministic. I guess he could get Naws and send it. Oh, he doesn't know my hand's blank. Like, he could have floated red, Infernal Tutor for Burning Wish, Tendrils me. All right. You got it. From the sideboard, Vendilion Click, Spell Pierce, a bunch of red blasts. White cards out of the deck, please. Swords to Plowshares. I have to respect the possibility of Xantid Swarm, or by possibility I mean inevitability of Xantid Swarm. Pyroclasm is a better answer than Terminus is to Goblins, because I can stack it better. There's a bunch of Relics of Progenitus in this list. Don't need those. They at least cantrip. Yeah, there's nothing using the graveyard, which is fun to think about, because there was the whole... Oh wait, isn't there an Ill-Gotten Gains in the sideboard? But it only kind of uses the graveyard. It also uses the hand. And you don't really want to be Ill-Gotten Gainsing blue decks. Okay, I think Swords to Plowshares is worse than Relic of Progenitus. There's only 2 Xantid Swarms in that deck, and I have Force of Wills. I can still counter things with Counterbalance through Xantid Swarm. Yeah, that's actually so interesting, that decision of Relic versus Plow. The off chance of drawing a card off of a blank card versus the off chance of answering a 2 of sideboard card that's very strong. Yeah, I'm going to leave in the Plows. Xantid Swarm, I have enough respect for. On the play, well, this is where babies come from. Let's see if I can hold it together. I would actually rather have Spell Pierce than Sensei's Top in this hand if I had to pick a 1-drop. Okay, Sensei's Top in play. Ataxian Probe, Seize the Goods. There's a lot of Cabal Therapies in the deck right now. The sideboard ones are in. Chrome Mox. You have to dump stuff like this out, even if you don't want to, against a face-up Counterbalance, because if I just reveal a land at any point in the future, your Chrome Mox is gone. If he does come up with Ascend here, I have 1 flip of the top that could come up with Force of Will. This list does have all 4 forces in it. It's not one of those hyper-teched out Joe Lissette mirror match builds that has only 2 forces in it. Second Chrome Mox. Black mana. This is now the rituals and the duresses are on. Ooh, I'm getting a turn. Am I getting silenced in the upkeep? No. All right. Am I getting silenced in response to Flooded Strand? No. All right. Okay. Counterbalance is on the stack. Abrupt Decay also in my opponent's sideboard. And I can counter 1-drops at will with Sensei's Top. That's just what that card does. All right. I no longer care about Xantid Swarm. Relic of Progenitus. It was in my main deck. Don't make fun of me. I'm just going to cycle that off in the very near future. Okay, opponent continues holding. All right, I'm just going to crack this immediately. It was there to draw a card, and that's what it's done. Volcanic Island, spin top, lands, and Jace. All right, I'll take the land for now. There's a 4 on top of my deck. Not the most useful. And I think my plan is to Vendilion Click in the end step, or if he starts comboing. I can also click myself and put this Entreat the Angels on the bottom, draw the Jace. Right, Vendilion Click, play this. Getting Abrupt Decay in response. Sure. That was a use it or lose it situation. Vendilion Click. I guess I should target you so I know what I need to navigate. Silence Burning Wish. Well, I'll take the Burning Wish and spin my top. Hold up Red Blast or develop Jace. Developing Jace. I think it's okay to give up on Force of Will here. Brainstorm. Yeah, kind of tough. Put back Entreat and Pyroclasm. Attack and hope I'm not dead. There's one unknown card at the bottom of my 3. If I spin top, find a blue card, flip top, cast Force. That is a thing. I'm just hoping opponent's hand doesn't kill me yet. Taxian Probe. Now 3 unknowns in the hand. Land, 2 unknowns in the hand. Okay, that's pretty nice. Ugh. I don't want any of this shit. I could entertain arguments that clearly he doesn't have it. Maybe I should just rip off the Entreat the Angels and try to kill him. Or I could find counterbalance right now. I'm going to put Pyroclasm and Swords to Plowshares back. 1 is on top. There's a 2 under it I can spin into. All right, that was nice. And the 1 that's on top answers 2 of the 6 cards in my opponent's hand at least. Okay, had enough. Got the hooks in, broke the hooks, rehooked. Couldn't convert in the midterm, the middle. I don't know what the word I'm trying to say there is. So I could cut Relic of Progenitus for Supreme Verdict as blue card for Force and as Sweeper for Goblins. We've had this exact conversation before with a different deck, but now I have cards that are pretty bad, like Relic of Progenitus, just in my deck for no reason. All right. I think the Supreme Verdict is worth it here. That is 1 less 1-drop, 1 more 4-drop. And the reason 4-drops don't really matter is because countering the Storm spell doesn't counter all of the Storm triggers over top of the Storm spell. Or I would take 2 less from Tendrils, or they'd have 2 less Goblins. But it doesn't stop the whole thing from happening. I'm going to keep. Land go from the up. Entreat the Angels, hell yeah. Maybe Scalding Tarn's better, because opponent did see Red Blast in my deck. Now he can Brainstorm and Ponder fearlessly, like so. Ponder shuffled. I will also present a fetch land. Very likely to Brainstorm this turn. Missing a land drop. 7 spells in hand for the opponent. There's Counterbalance. Okay, so Plains and Entreat the Angels can go back into my deck, which will then get shuffled away. Brainstorm in response, go for it. Silence does stop miracles, by the way. Miracle shows a trigger. There's a triggered ability that when that trigger resolves, you're allowed to pay the miracle cost to cast the spell, and you can silence in response to the miracle trigger. Just FYI. Volcanic Island does not cast Abrupt Decay. I'm going to try to develop this. I mean, I'm going to develop this no matter what, but okay. The fetchables are Underground Sea and Volcanic Island. Need a 5-color land to make this work. Oh, that card is nice with Counterbalance. If you haven't seen this interaction before, I get to put whatever card I want on top of my deck. So this has to be Underground Sea. That's all the fetchables in the list. Okay, I really don't want my opponent having access to other colors of mana right now. So I'm going to put Jace and Island on top of my deck. Reveal the island. And I'm fine redrawing the island here. So I cast Jace, and then I can do stuff. Fetch for a Tundra. Leaving that Volk kicking around in there. Jace. Brainstorm. I think I want a 1 on top. Is that true? A 2 gates all of the tutors if he does punch his way through, but I have so many Force of Wills. Yeah, if I can counter Duress or Silence, that does what I need it to do. Okay, there's a 1-drop on top. Ironic that I just said I'll leave the Volcanic Island in the deck, and then I went and put my Red Blast on top of the deck while drawing the Volcanic Island. Okay. Opponent has Xantid Swarm now underneath of that. All right. The secondary counterbalance seems like the play right now because, like, clearly we've been jockeying over green mana, and I think what I want to do is Vendilion click first, force the issue on the Abrupt Decay, and then I'll just play the second counterbalance after the fact. Right, Abrupt Decay, don't reveal my Caracas. We've got a bunch of 2s, a 1, and an uncastable Silence. Could start value Burning Wishing, which I don't really want to happen. Okay, I am actually going to leave you with all those cards. And then Brainstorm, if this finds another 2, I'm just so Gucci. And it did. Caracas Counterspell back on top. Play the counterbalance and pass. It's a little sequencing jockey there. Duress, okay. I'm not countering that. Here's my hand full of good cards. That's what Jace the Mind Sculptor does to a game. One of the force is gone. That's the one unknown from the hand. I am going to keep this counterspell around, floating on top of my deck. I think I want to fetch now, though. That lets me see new cards. Okay. I'll float counterbalance on top of the deck. The Red Blast does seem useful in my hand. And I can pitch Jace. Okay. Put 2 counterbalances on top of the deck. The other consideration would be play out a second counterbalance to make sure I don't suddenly lose to Abrupt Decay. But I have so many counterspells in my hand, I don't think that's going to happen either. Look how much fun we're having. Hard to believe this deck got banned. All right, let's go debrief with Bryant.
Brian, thank you for doing this with me again. And not thank you for kicking my teeth in twice in a row. Both part 1 and part 2, you just dominated. It's funny. I think there's a couple points in this series where I was just like, maybe I could actually get this. The Creeping Tar Pit attack you made in match 1, very good play. I even mentioned it when it happened. I was like, Brian's really good. He's probably going to make the correct play here and attack with the Creeping Tar Pit. But I was hoping you would leave open the mana for interaction or something like that. And then that just made my ad nauseum just enough worse to not convert. So that was very good play by you. You Mindbreak trapped me out of Elves, and Elves didn't really play a whole lot of Mindbreak traps back then. So I was just like, wasn't expecting that.
Right. So that was... Like, I made sure to take decks from the era. I went on the internet, the Star City archives. I took 75s as played from the era, and it wasn't a metagame shot against you. In fact, the Esper Deathblade deck that I played had no counterspells in the main deck, because that's just a thing people were doing back then. I got all my forces were in the board, and because Legacy was just grindier back then. If you're expecting Rug Delver and Maverick and those sort of things every round, why would you have Force Will in your deck at all? And when I was searching for lists, I mean, I will admit I selected a Miracles deck, an era appropriate Miracles deck that did have forces in the main, because there were those that only had 1 or 2. And I was like, I'm not doing that. But I did not jack my Elves deck full of Mindbreak traps just for you today. That was actually as written. That one also had a Rurik Thar in the sideboard. Yeah. That was just a list from the 2013 Invitational, the one that Eric Smith won with Jeskai Delver. That deck was just also did well in that tournament.
Nice. And then the Rug Delver match, I knew, I played my land and fetch, and you paused for just a split second. I was like, Brian pondered into Stifle. He drew pondered into Stifle, but I was like, my hand is one thing. And then I was like, well, I can hope that he forces the Burning Wish and doesn't have it, but unfortunately, you had me.
Yeah, that match in particular, on my side, I was talking about how there was a long period of time where people had the impression that the tempo decks kicked the crap out of Storm. And in this particular era, when you have all these stifles and all of these things, and Storm doesn't have necessarily deterministic lines anymore. You have to go through ad nauseum, or didn't have them yet. You haven't adopted Carpet of Flowers. You don't have Veil of Summer. You don't have Galvanic Relay or Past in Flames or any of these things. I guess Past in Flames did exist, but the Epic Storm wasn't on it. that was from Innistrad as well. So it like people seem to have locked that opinion in for a while, and then it changed very gradually but very dramatically as well. And now I mean, you like playing against the red tempo decks these days, right? Like
Yeah, I love
that's
it.
just a great matchup. So
Yeah.
it's cool seeing the historical perspective of, from my side, it was like, LOL, I can never lose this match. This is so fucking funny. And but now it's the opposite because things have changed.
Yeah. So I think like a big thing I talked about while I was playing, and if your audience watches it, they'll hear me saying it a lot, is my deck list was so bad. Like I realized that the list that I played, I won a Star City Games Open with, was my first SCG win, and I'm playing it. I'm like, it's just terrible. There's not enough mana in the deck. Like I think that's a big thing. Like back then, everyone thought you could get away with less mana because you had Gitaxian Probe, but I think that ultimately doesn't fix it. And like every game, I was just like, I need more mana. I need more mana, and a big oversight is, and I didn't realize this until mid video. I was like, when did Scars of Mirrodin come out? It was 2010.
Yeah, you had
And I'm
it.
like,
You had Mox Opal if you wanted it.
exactly. And I'm like, I didn't figure out Mox Opal until 2018. 8 years existed where I could have been playing the same artifact base that I play these days. And what I would have done to also have had Gitaxian Pro back then. Like, it would have been insane if I had figured it out, but past Bryant was very dumb.
Yeah, I clocked on my side that this is a weird transitional era for the Epic Storm where you still have the Rainbow lands, but you also have some fetches and duels. And like you have the 2Cs and the Volk, but that doesn't cast any of your sideboard cards or silence. And
Mhm.
being able to just predict what you were capable of based on how your mana was constructed. Like there was one spot where there were a bunch of turns where I was like, man, if he fetches a Tundra and turns on all these silences, I gotta dance around this. Like, what am I gonna do about that? Then I remembered you just don't have one, and you were waiting for a City of Brass that or a Lotus Petal or whatever that whole game. So that
Yeah.
it was definitely noticeable both how much the Storm deck has gotten better, both between the community and you getting better at building it and the cards that exist, and also how good you had to be back then to put up all the wins you did with a deck that was constructed like this. Like, I mean, genuine respect, because you were crushing for over a decade. You've been crushing for what is it, 2026 now? Like 16 plus years with this list, 18, maybe 18 years. Like, it,
So my first Epic Storm list was August of 2020, or I'm sorry, of August of 2006. So this year
oh
is
wow,
20 years.
20 years of the Epic Storm. Okay, yeah, and this was from 2013, so we're in still in the first half of the this deck's life
Like,
cycle,
yeah.
and how far it's come, and like all the results you've put up with these messy lists and finding the way as things evolve, like, is very cool.
So I think there's a few things there. Like one, information now spreads so much faster and like optimal play and things like that. Back then, your average player was really bad. And
Yeah,
like I wasn't like I thought I was pretty good for a long time and then I started playing Magic Online and I quickly realized how much better I could be. But I thought that I was like a big fish. And in reality, during that era, I was a small fish. And it's just that everybody else was minnows. And like over time you realize that there's room for growth and things like that, but I think I beat up on a lot of people that just didn't know what they were doing. And you're obviously a very good player, and I said this during my short recap at the end, but I was like, Brian knows my tricks. He knows how to beat the Epic Storm. Like I probably could have gotten a few more wins against people that weren't as good as you, but that's ultimately not what we're doing here.
yeah. I mean, I was there at these tournaments. I was playing these tournaments too. I was not winning back then. Like I was. We may notice the one deck that I actually mained during this era was the one match
Oh,
you won.
Elves.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, nice top deck Infernal Tutor, by the way. You sack, but
I, I brainstormed it there. I brainstormed it.
was that a master plan the whole time? Okay, then
Yeah.
I give you credit for seeing the Matrix the whole time. But yeah, I just during that era chose to play combo elves straight into miracles, straight into storm, like whatever else was going on. I played combo elves through the entire time Treasure Cruise was legal. You just couldn't talk me out of it, and I, that's one of the lessons here is maybe being a pet deck specialist is holding you back, but also here you are 20 years later specializing in this deck and just making it better, where like finding new lanes where Elves is kind of, oh, it turned into Cradle Control, which is a completely different looking thing. It turned into Maverick, basically, which was a deck that Elves used to farm back in this era. But the Epic Storm just, as you get better and have access to new things, the deck just is completely unrecognizable from what we just played.
Yeah, it's a ship a thesis. That's the idea. Like it
Right.
slowly changes over time. That's pretty much what the Epic Storm is. And it's funny. I remember meeting you as like the Elves guy. Same thing with Jarvis. You like I still joke about him with it today because he's like everyone thinks I'm the Lands guy. I'm like, no, Jarvis, you're the Elves guy, because that's just how I knew you two back then. So when I saw that you registered Elves, I was like, classic Bryant here, like the one non-blue deck.
Yep. Yeah. And uh, I remember it was probably in this era where I think Jarvis was starting to leave his Elves arc and hadn't found his Lands arc yet. And we just had some mutual friends, and someone was like, "Does anyone have a moat?" And I was in that arc where I was casual becoming competitive, and I still had just had like a binder full of my whole legacy collection on my body at all times. Now I travel with the 75 cards I'm going to play and don't ask me to borrow anything because it's not happening. But back then, a friend of a friend, and the friend of the friend was Jarvis, borrowed my moat because I just had every card I owned in my backpack at the time. And uh, 13 years later, homies for life.
Yeah. I remember it was always a tough thing because I would keep a binder with me too at these events, and like you'd lend out cards to your friends, and so did your friends that you drove with. And then like at the end of the event, you'd be like, "Oh, this person hasn't finished yet. We can't leave until I get back my, my underground sea or whatever." And you'd be waiting on people that aren't even in your car anymore,
Right.
and you'd be like, "Oh, do we leave and like try to get it back from them at the next SEG?" Well, I don't know them that well, but I lent them an underground sea. It's like, what is going on here? That sort of thing.
Yeah, and back then an underground sea was $25 or whatever, maybe 40 or 50 by this era, but it wasn't $800 given to a stranger. And I mean, that is one of the many sad losses of the reserve list effect on Magic and
Hmm.
Legacy communities. I used to loan out. Like I just said, I handed Jarvis a moat on the vouch for a friend the first time I ever met him. And now my moats are in a safe at my house. And no, you can't have one. And that's just how it is now.
I talked about it during my deck tech, and I'm sure you remember this too. But back then, it was standard Saturday, Legacy Sunday,
Yep.
and the event would fire at like 9 or 10 in the morning. I remember leaving the event hall. Like I had just got my trophy from Joey Pasco and I did like the post tournament recap or whatever. And we finally get in the car and it's like 11:30, 11:45 at night. Like the event took literally all day. And then I had a 7 hour drive back to Syracuse. Like I got home, I showered and went straight to work because it was Monday morning. Like I had to be in the office. And that was just like what every event was like back then. Like people reminisce about that time period, and it was great for a young kid right out of college. I would not do it right now. I'd be like, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, now I would be booking my hotel through to Monday morning, where back then it would be it's me and my other like 18 to 22-year-old college friends, and we would wake up at 3 in the morning, drive out to Philly or Baltimore or DC or whatever it was the Saturday morning, get there an hour before the event starts, put 6 dudes in one hotel room, and then we drive out Sunday, whatever time it was. Like we don't have money for hotel rooms. We just gotta play the Magic and get out of there. It was a fun time that I'm glad I'm not in anymore.
Yeah. So one of the upcoming eras is one of my favorite ones. It's the Forward Ataxian Probe 4 Cabal Therapy 4 Empty the Warrens era.
Oh, Black
I don't know
Belcher.
if it's Yeah, I don't know if it's the next one or the one after, but that's the one I'm like eagerly waiting for because I have such fond memories of that time period, and it was super fun. When they banned Gataxian Probe, which I think was 2018, they talk about storm win rates being too high, and I was like, I had just gotten into Magic Online at the time, and I always wondered, like, was I a part of that? Like, was my win rate too good? Because I was dominating.
Oh, of
I
course,
beat
yeah.
I beat your good friend Rich Callie in the finals of the first Leaving Legacy Open. He was on like Grixis Delver with death rates at the time, and like I felt like I was actually like unstoppable with that list. Like, yeah, I could lose, like anyone can lose, but for the most part, like that list was fire.
Yeah, clearly Wizards of the Coast agreed because it got Gataxian Probe banned after 8 years of being legal. Just preposterous. Like, I've been playing a bunch of Vintage lately to prepare for the NYSE Open, and every time somebody has the Gataxian Probe, which you only get one of in that format, I'm just like, oh, I'm so violated. It's like they walked into my house and just started flicking through my books on my bookshelf. This sucks. I hate this feeling. And you had 4 of them in your deck, you psycho. And every game was just like, there's no subgame to play. It's like, do I leave up a mana to bluff a spell pierce, or do I just tap out for Deathrite Shaman? It's like, he's gonna probe me anyway. I'll just make the play that I'm most happy with.
I didn't do well today, but I won't lie. My favorite part was casting Gataxian Probe. I think that they should unban it. It would just be good for Legacy. It would be good for everyone. Let's just make it happen.
This interview is over. You're out of your mind right now. I think they should ban the one you're allowed to play in Vintage and get it out of here. That card
Yeah,
sucks.
it's not a great card. So one thing I was thinking about, like your Esper Deathblade match, is I was like, I wasn't trying to look up lists, so I was just playing based off memory the whole time. And you ended up having Meddling Mage, but I was like, I think I remember people playing like Aethersworn Canonist back then. And I know that you as a person, you really like splitting up your hate into like spell based, permanent based, so that way like one thing doesn't beat you. It's like
Right.
what really good players do against Storm. And I like struggled remembering what people did back then. Like at one point I had to say, when did Critterhuff Behemoth come out? Am I dead to the Green Sun in Brian's hand? And I had to, ask Jeeves when Critterhuff Behemoth was printed.
Yes, my whole framing of my deck techs was the era we're in and what the new tech was, and like this era was comfortable into Innistrad. Like the full Innistrad block was out. That Snapcaster, Delver, Liliana, Lingering Souls. I did have those in my sideboard. They didn't come in against you, and we were in the middle of Return to Ravnica block. Like Dragon's Maze came out in 2013, so Deathrite, Supreme Verdict, Abrupt Decay, these were the new cards for the matches we just played, and a lot of those came up. I mean, obviously Deathrite was in 4 of my decks, so
Yeah.
count it.
I mean, that card was very good for a long time. Like I see, like it came up this week. People are like, it's time, unban Deathrite Shaman. And like my personal opinion on that is like, you don't let out snakes to fix a mouse problem. Like I think unbanning Deathrite would just be so bad for Legacy. Facing it today made me unhappy, and I had Gataxian Probe in my deck. So like, especially with, I guess like Legacy's powered up around it, but I don't know, man. I don't want to see Deathrite ever again.
No, me neither. It's very silly. Even that game that you called out at the top of this debrief with the Creeping Tarpit attack, I had one opportunity to activate Deathrite the turn before, which put you into, that's 2 life less, where if that was a mana dork, like if I just leave Deathrite back and it's Birds of Paradise, if I leave it back to represent a counterspell, or if it's Noble Hierarch and like it could have attacked, but I'd rather bluff something. Deathrite, it's like I get to bluff something and you lose 2 life, which put you exactly to dead to your own ad nauseum after I went in with that Creeping Tarpit. And it's just like this little effect, it's not as dramatic as a Ragavan or a Ren and 6 or any Oko, the cards that have been banned more recently, but it's just as insidious. It's nasty. Also, I caught myself, I had a Bayou in play at one point, and I moused over the black mana to the green mana, which was under it on the drop-down menu. Like I did more work to cast it for green, just in my head, because it's like, why would this be a black card? Why would I be able to cast this for black mana? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I think that's all I have time for, to be honest. I have some other things I got to do today, but thank you for doing this with me. We'll try to fit in another one in June. Hopefully you enjoy doing this and that it gets views for your channel. I love it personally. The walk down memory lane is so much fun for me.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun, and I hope our schedules continue to align that I get to be your opponent for all of the remaining eras.
Thanks everyone for watching.